Warfare 3 is on the way. I'm got such deja vu right now because I'm pretty sure one of the first things we talked about when I joined like last year was Modern Warfare 2, and I'm like, what, another one? Like,
oh, is that right?
I just assumed there was a bigger gap between these things, but no.
There used to be.
Yeah, this is it, right? I didn't realize it was like this. These were this close together.
Times have changed.
And that feeds into what we were just talking about before we started recording, which is the idea that any game called Modern Warfare 3 is apparently cursed.
Yeah, I think there are so many similar circumstances here that. The name is cursed, but also the lineage of who's making it. So if you remember, the original Modern Warfare 3 came off the back of the very successful industry-leading blah 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 Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
Except the people behind it, Infinity Ward, that studio had been gutted completely. A bunch of those people left, and they would later on start Respawn with EA. So Activision needed their game finished, so they basically brought the Dead Space people and had them make a new studio called Sledgehammer Games to sort of help finish that game. That game was fine. They finished it, whatever. But no one is going to remember that game as like one of the strongest games. Like everyone's going to have the high point for them is going to be MW2.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Here we are, 10 years later? And then Modern Warfare 3, also a game that they had to couple together from not a lot of new ideas that needed to be finished. And guess what? It has fallen onto Sledgehammer Games again to deliver this product. They just keep getting the short end of the stick. They just can't catch a break. Like Vanguard, and everyone likes to shit on Vanguard. And then this now, like the legacy of that studio is just like coming to fix it. It's like the poorly compensated worker that comes in and does a job they're competent at their job. But you never think about them because they're doing something so menial and so unimpressive that you're like, oh yeah, they did this. Oh, okay, sure, whatever. So yeah, I just feel bad to have to like drag them through the mud, and I will drag that game through the mud. So it's just it's bad. I'm not happy that I'm doing it, but it's just the reality of what we have.
So like Sledgehammer is like the people who make like the coffee and the fast food that the entire economy runs on, but nobody gives a shit about them.
It's really because the studio has done good things in the past, and all of the games have like interesting things. Like there's one interesting thing in this game, in this campaign at least so far. So I know they can do good stuff. They have some interesting ideas. They just keep like, they're really not the favorite child of Activision.
Which is incredible, really. Because, like, if you're not the favorite child of Activision, like they don't treat any studio particularly well.
Yeah, but they used to have like the eras of Call of Duty would always have the Star Studio. Used to be Infinity Ward, obviously, for a while. Then Bobby Kotick got his fingers all up in there and destroyed that studio. And so Treyarch has risen to become the lead for a while, and then they did some funky stuff. They were too ambitious with Black Ops 4, did the stuff, and then Infinity Ward came from the top row, from the shadows, with the new engine and the new tech, and revolutionizing everything to be more realistic, blah, blah, blah. And they became the star child, and so it's always like the ebb and flow. But the third studio, Sledgehammer Games, was never the star child, and I don't think that it ever will.
Yeah, which is sad, really, that they've kind of been the... They've sat on the sidelines while kind of Infinity Ward and Treyarch have played pass the parcel with Bobby Kotick's affections. But, well, I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next 10 years, given what's happened at the top level of Activision. Because I know you love a COD campaign, and I think most people do. Does this one carry on from Modern Warfare 2? Because I know that game sort of... It didn't really... slot itself in too heavily with the events of the first campaign. It was very sort of this is the same world and the same people, but we're kind of doing something else here, and we're going a bit off piste. And I think you preferred Modern Warfare 2's campaign to Modern Warfare 1's, right?
I like them both equally. I'm not happy that like now we have 3 games. Each one of them is just almost feels like a... What do you call a show when like the same characters are playing the same people are playing different characters each time?
Like an anthology.
An anthology series. So it feels like that, where you have the squad. Like the first game, the Modern Warfare 2019, was, in my opinion, like specifically in the campaign, revolutionary in what a Call of Duty campaign mission should be and what it is and the themes and the things that they talk about. It wasn't always very successful, and it lacked the guts that a political game like that should have. So I would expect, I expected Modern Warfare 2 to follow up on that, but obviously a bunch of the people who made it had left. So Modern Warfare 2 tried to pick up from that, had some really interesting ideas elsewhere that I really, really dug. Modern Warfare 3, barely a campaign at all. So there is some continuation in there. Like they try to be like, this is a sequel because we're doing things that you remember from the other games. And then the big thing is bringing back Makarov, who's a villain from the original series. That, to my knowledge, has never been mentioned once in this new series. So this is like the most out of left field. Like, please, would someone pay attention to this campaign? God, we'll do anything. Remember Makarov? Remember No Russian? Well, please, just please. And so it just comes across so desperate. And Makarov, he's in this for like 4 scenes. He just does a thing in a cutscene. You can't stop him. Dips for like 3 missions. Comes back again, and everyone's like, that's the most seriousest threats in the. And it's like, dude, why? Why is he a threat? Why? And so they tied his name to like a shadow sort of PMC that's been in Warzone and other bits of the Modern Warfare soup, I guess, to sort of like, no, he's been there because we just tied him. And there's like one of the funniest missions in the game is retconning his existence. 4 years ago, or like 5 years ago, whatever. No, the squad has always known about Makarov, and they had the chance to take him out, but they didn't. And now they're paying for it. And it's like, this is like the most basic retcon ever. Like, it's just like, why are you doing this? Like, this is so lame. It's like story. Nothing really. A lot of things of significance happen, but they're weirdly hurried in a way that's like the game just had like the rule book was like, okay, we need this person to die, we need this person to be killed, we need this person to break off. Figure it out. And someone handed them that and 1 year or probably less to develop it. And so they were like, here's a mission that we're doing a thing, and then is it time to drop one of the other beats? And yes, drop this beat. It's like, this doesn't quite track. Why are we doing this? And it's like, I know why they're doing this, but like, the story of that game, nothing to write home about.
That should be like it should be the tagline. It should be on the box. Like, why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this? Honest to God, like that game is just like, from what I've played so far, everything that I've seen of multiplayer is like, why are we doing it? Like, why?
I mean, I suppose you mentioned earlier that like Sledgehammer Call of Duties always have like at least one interesting thing going on.
Yeah.
And I feel like the bad COD campaigns in general, the ones that people bounce off, they're often like the ultimate bad games with good bits. Because like every COD campaign has a great mission or a good bit.
Yeah.
What are the good bits of this? Because there's got to be some.
Yeah, I will tell you what the good bit of this, but I think it's even, I would call it very charitable to call this a proper Call of Duty campaign, because most of the missions you're playing are made up of the old Warzone map, the Verdansk map, with some scripting and some cutscene.
Okay, well that sounds terrible. Okay.
It is pretty much as you'd expect. You're just like
that sounds like when they tried to like shoehorn a single player mode into like Unreal or something.
Yes.
You're like, okay.
So there are maybe I want to say 5 or 6 quote unquote real missions. None of them have the spectacle of Call of Duty. They try. They're like the ones with like the expensive cutscenes and we're doing it. And then the rest of them is just, here we just cordoned off an area in this Warzone map from Verdansk, and you have to defuse some bombs, and we're just gonna bark orders at you every 2 minutes. And it's like, this is not a Call of Duty mission. You just added some scripting here.
Yeah.
So the big thing this time around that they're trying to sell you on is what they call open combat missions, which is the missions that I was just talking about, where you're thrown into bits of the Verdansk map, and you can approach it in any way you like, and like scope around and take out Overwatch and like find guns and whatever. But you don't have to. Like, there's no, I could just get a car and just drive through the front door and hit the button. Like, I don't need to be stealthy. And they have like a very, very slim stealth system, where when someone is looking at you, you don't know from where, but like, if someone is looking at you, you get this like, and you're about to be detected. Sometimes you shoot someone in like an isolated area, and somehow they have alerted the entire map. Sometimes you take out everyone, and no one is. It's very inconsistent, very, very hastily thrown together. It's. I understand why they made it. I am not begrudging them. It's a clever reuse of assets. But my personal highlight of that game, which is the bar solo at this point, is actually one of those missions, like an open combat mission. Why? Why is that? Because I think it understood how to play with that format. Basically, it's a mission where you're ascending. It's called High Rise, and you're ascending through not quite a high rise, but like a very tall building. But the building is not always clear where you need to go. So you'll go to the stairs, and the stairs are blocked off. Okay, well, how do I get to the other floor? Okay, check the window. Maybe there's a zip line that I can carry. Not quite. Okay, so every floor is sort of its own challenge, and you don't know which doors are going to open and which doors are not going to open, and which doors you need to open from a different angle, like shoot like a chair that's holding up the door handle so that you can enter. So it's almost like this roguelike thing of like the first time going through it when you have no idea what's going to happen. Your goal is just to keep ascending, and you're not quite sure like what kind of enemies you're going to face or like what kind of traps. Like some areas have like tripwires that you need like to see like and pay attention to, otherwise you're going to die. It's a very good time for what little substance those missions have, and I want I honestly want that mission like in like a small game with like randomized elements and like roguelike elements.
I was gonna say, the way you're describing this, it sounds great. I'd love to play that mission. The rest of it,
it's like
bothered, but
it's like
that.
What if someone made like a Call of Duty map or a Warzone map that's entirely vertical? It's just there's no you have to get a car. No, it's like someone is like 2 floors above me, but I can't quite get to them. So I need to figure out how to get to them and then what to do. I enjoyed my time with it. I was surprised.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. It sounds like a real, as you say, there's somebody there who has a genuinely really good idea that they're trying to kind of shoehorn into this shit sandwich that they've been given to sort out, so
one last thing I will say about like the things that I like is there's the no Russian mission of this game is I think much smarter than the original no Russian. I don't know why they needed to have it, but I think this was another thing on the mandate of like, you brought back Makarov, so you're gonna bring back no Russian, of course. I think it's smarter because, and I mentioned this in my review, I think it understands what the essence of a false flag attack is. But it has very, very little effect on the story because the actions of what happens in that mission get resolved. The framing that the villain is trying to do. But I think I think the original one was so garish and so aggressive in what it's trying to do. It was like, oh, we shot up an airport. Look at all these civilians. This one has a little bit more interest in exploring why something like this works. To begin with, like an attack like that works, and I thought it was like there's a little bit of good writing and scripting for like, okay, how can this happen in a modern setting without it just being a repeat of?
That's what that sounds like. If someone is buying this game for the multiplayer, which obviously, as we know, the vast majority of people will. It sounds like there's decent ideas in this campaign precisely two decent ideas in this campaign, so make it worth it.
There's also zombies.
You've got it for the multiplayer, you're bored one night, and you literally have nothing else to play. Bang on the campaign for the 2 good missions. I do want that tower thing. I do want I want Call of Duty like the Raid spun out into its own thing. So that's a good idea.
Yes, Call of Duty the Raid.
Per sledgehammer.
I think I'm gonna actually write about that because like that mission is such a standout from like a gameplay perspective that I was like, why is this here? This is like too good. This is too good.
It's like they dropped this in from another game that they were working on that's actually good. Like it's not supposed to be there.
Like there should be a side mode in like Call of Duty, like the zombies or Spec Ops, where it's like this is a mission that you play that changes every week, and it's like in a different location maybe, and like different enemy arrangements and different stuff. I feel like it would take little work to update and maintain, and you have like
this honestly sounds like a better idea than
get like a weapon skin at the end of it or something.
Yeah, it sounds like a better idea than anything else remotely associated with this game.
Yeah.